What's up, guys? It's Manga Time once again, and I'm here today to bring you Bleach 547 review. Yes! Just hear that again. I'm here today to bring you Bleach 547 review. Doesn't that sound good? Doesn't that sound good? It's been way too long since I've been able to say something like that. And it's here today, and it's not the greatest of chapters, but it's awesome that it's finally here, and it's what I was hoping for, pretty much. The chapter's called Peace from Shadows. We get a couple of colour pages to start with. A nice picture of Ichigo on the cover of Shonen Jump this week. Just pretty basic, him smiling. Then we get the colour page in the manga, and it's Ichigo reaching for his swords. And he's topless, and he's kind of in like some dojo. So, I don't know, what can we take from this? Has he reached Ichibe's palace yet, or what? It's a bit annoying if he's really gone and skipped Shuteru's palace, because that would kind of suck. But all is forgiven when I see the next page, and my eyes just explode, and I'm like, holy crap. This is the most awesome thing I've ever seen, and it is possibly the best colour page I've ever seen in Bleach. It's Ichigo standing in the middle, both swords out to the side. The bloody battle starts, Bleach, and we get on one side coloured Shinigami, on the other side coloured Stern Ritter. Yes, coloured Stern Ritter. Oh my god. Okay, so Haschwalth is what we thought, blonde hair. Master Masculine, his colours are actually red. I didn't expect that. I thought they was going to be blue. Fair enough. Asnot is there, yes, he's got black hair, alright, we guessed that, and a black, kind of grey mask, actually. Colonel Sanders is a surprise, he's not actually got white hair, he's got kind of blonde hair, so he's possibly not as old as he looks. Bambetta Bastabine has purple hair. What? That is weird. I thought she was going to have darker hair than that, but fair enough, she actually looks kind of cool with purple hair, I suppose. Then we get the four Stern Ritter girls that no one cares about. Well, no, some people care about them. Melanos McCallum, pink hair. Giselle Joelle, purple hair, and I think Lil Toto has green hair, and then Candace Catnip might have yellow. I can't tell, to be honest, they're really small. Kangdu, there he is, looking like a badass, has kind of blue hair and bronze claws. He looks awesome either way. Nanonanajakoop, his visor is yellow, didn't expect that, but it looks pretty cool actually. Bazz-B is possibly the biggest surprise of this. I thought he was going to have red hair. Turns out he's got purpley pink hair. It does kind of work. It does kind of work, actually. He looks pretty cool. But then on the other side, we've got the Shinigami. We'll just run through them quickly. We have this really awesome parallel between Shunsui and Haschwalth. And after this chapter, this picture may actually mean a bit more. So we've got on the other side Soifon, Kenpachi, Yumichika, Mayuri, Byakuya, Rukia, Komamura, Hisagi, Ikaku, Shinji, Matsumoto, Renji, and Toshiro. Now, the thing is, at the end of this chapter, Bazz-B and Toshiro are revealed to be fighting each other, and they're basically opposite each other on this picture. So what does this mean? Does this mean that we're going to get, like, Renji versus Uryu, if you kind of twist it a little bit? Shinji versus Kangdu, that would be freaking awesome. Judging by how this picture is going, Byakuya and Asnot could square up again, though I sincerely hope that doesn't happen. It's not necessarily the most reliable picture, though, because Mayuri's on here and his opponent is not. I think Kubo could have fit a few more Stern Ritter on the side. There's definitely some space next to Master Masculine and Asnot. But, I'm just happy we got to see some of them. This basically is the colour picture I was hoping for. So, the chapter starts, and obviously we start where we left off. The Seirete is being replaced by the Schatten Beireich. Get some awesome double-page spreads. We see like the church. You get this definitely European Gothic vibe from the Schatten Beireich. And obviously Seirete disappears. Now you get some reaction shots. Rose is like, what the fuck is going on? You get a cool picture of Isane, interesting picture. She's not really showing much emotion because you can't see her face. Is she like mega angry, mega depressed? What's going on? Because obviously what happened with Unohana. Iba, interesting, because I thought Iba was outside Seirete. Frankly, I think he still might be. Same with Omeda. Omeda still might be outside. Shunsui is now back in Seirete. So what that means, from the last chapter, Shunsui was in the human world. There must have been a small time skip from the human world section to the invasion section. But yeah, Shunsui, absolute badass as always. He says that he expected them to attack them again, and he actually prepared a few tricks in advance. However, the Quincy have ruined their advantage, the Shinigami's advantage. We see the Shakon Maku turn black from the outside. This confirms that Ukitake is actually outside the Seirete. I did not think that was the case. Kotetsu and... what's the other bloke called? Oh god, my mind's gone blank. Well, whatever. Kotetsu and the other guy, girl have... Kiyone Kotetsu and... what's the other guy called? Oh well, I can't remember his name now, but I do know. And then yeah, Ukitake clearly knows what's going on because he's looking pretty solemn from the back. Nice bit of shadowing going on. Then basically Hyosu goes mental in the 12th division. Basically, if you remember from the last chapter, Akon was going crazy that everything was disappearing. Now Hyosu will refuse to believe that the Seirete has gone, and Akon's like, you should know it's correct. And Hyosu's like, well, what can we see? The instruments, they've not gone. And then as soon as he says that, the instruments vanish. So yeah, 12th division's screwed. And basically Hyosu flips the hell out. And it's actually really cool because you can see that the 12th division has now been replaced with the actual Vandenreich area. They've got the Quincy flags and everything. Hyosu just goes crazy. And then we get an explanation from Yaharvark, the man himself. And this is very interesting. So interesting. Basically, after the Quincy's lost the war 1,000 years ago, they had nowhere to go. So they escaped from the human world and into the Seirete, the place that the Shinigami had left unguarded. Now this is interesting because it means the battle 1,000 years ago took place in the human world? What? That's cool and interesting and unexpected. And once there, the Quincy used the Reishi space to create space within the shadows of the Seirete, and that's what was called the Vandenreich, the Invisible Empire. So Vandenreich is the place, not the people. But wow, seriously, like the Quincy went into Seirete and they hid in the shadows. They've been there the whole time, man. Like seriously, the entire time. Every time you've been near a shadow, you've been near a Quincy. That's creepy and awesome at the same time. What this does make me think, though, is if the Quincy really have that much power and that much control over Reishi that they can open shadows and make space, how the hell are they going to lose this battle? I mean, I know they have to because they're the bad guys, but how are they going to lose? Seriously. I'm very excited. Like, that's a nice revelation, that is. That's really interesting. It does debunk the theory that the Quincy were the first ones there in Seirete, but, you know, it's awesome nonetheless that they've basically just snuck in and like hid themselves within the Shinigami's ranks. Also, another interesting point this brings up: does this mean the Quincy we see now were the ones who fought 1,000 years ago? Because obviously time goes a lot slower in the Soul Society, so I reckon it does. I reckon these must have been the Quincy who survived 1,000 years ago. Anyway, someone starts speaking to the 12th Division saying that their plan was a complete success, and unlike in the human world, in Soul Society there's as much Reishi as you could possibly want, and that's the source of their power. They could literally do anything. And this man is Sturmritter D, Askin Nakk le Vaar, who's appeared out of nowhere in the middle of the 12th Division, which is awesome. He seems to like leaning up against walls like that. And he looks different to Aizen now, a little bit in my opinion. Kubo seems to have found a face for him. He's still got exactly the same haircut, but he looks a bit different in my opinion. He actually looks quite cool, I think. And apparently for 1,000 years, according to Askin, they stored up their power in the shadows. So to me, they can't possibly lose. You know, the Shinigami have been sitting around on their asses for 1,000 years. The Quincy have been storing up power. Then we get an awesome bit. Jugrum Haschwalth appears, and he says that, in other words, both the last time and this time, we didn't invade Seirete by coming through the Shakon Maku. We were already inside it. There you go. That's the truth. All this time they've been living inside the Shinigami shadows. That's awesome. And Jugrum Haschwalth is confronting Shunsui. Yes, this fight should be epic. Nanao's with him, so will Nanao help him? Shunsui, being a complete badass, basically just turns around and goes, "Welcome. Thank you for the precious information." And then basically he says that you got to the head captain's room quite fast. I guess the enemy must have some skilled men. Haschwalth introduced himself as the Grand Master of the Sturmritter and the advisor to the Emperor of the Vandenreich, Jugrum Haschwalth. Shunsui retorts with, "I'm the Captain Commander. I just took up the post, so maybe you didn't know that, but perhaps you did." And Haschwalth replies, "Yeah, I did. That's why I came here first." Obviously Haschwalth's going to know that. The Quincy have basically been spying on them from the shadows the entire time. God, I love this chapter. So Shunsui says that, you know, how hasty, after 1,000 years you're not going to slowly enjoy the battle. So Shunsui obviously trying to slow him down here, trying to stall him a bit. According to Haschwalth, though, His Majesty loves peace and he prefers the hard fights to be short. That's why his order was to just instantly exterminate the whole enemy army. I don't think it's going to go like that, but I really see some trouble on the Shinigami side. You get an awesome picture of the two faces, Haschwalth and Shunsui. Oh, one hell of a fight going to go down there. We return to Askin Nakk le Vaar, and, you know, all of the Shinigami are like, "Where are you?" You know, no, where are you? How did you get here? When did you get here? Who are you? Askin's like, whoa, didn't you just listen to what I said? And it's quite funny, Askin, because he basically says, do the people at the Research and Development Institute only pretend to be smart? I didn't come in from somewhere, I was already here from the very beginning. Awesome. Yeah, Askin looks like Eisen, but I quite like him, actually. I think he interests me. Someone surprises Askin, however, by saying exactly, and a doorway opens behind him. You, Quincy, were inside the shadows. Two worlds existed in the same place at the same time, but without ever touching each other. How irrational to build a world inside the shadows. Someone steps out, and it... Is that Mayuri? Is that Nemu? What the hell is that? Mayuri looks absolutely ridiculous. He's got like some big blob bulbous suit on with like random little sun things coming around his face. He looks hilarious. He looks like a sunflower. But Mayuri says, I don't completely dislike irrational things. So he's clearly, you know, fairly impressed at what they've done. We get this brilliant reaction from Akon, who's like, what the hell are you wearing? Basically, Mayuri was able to ascertain from the information gathered in the last fight, he was just about able to understand the Quincy invasion had something to do with the shadows. So that's why he reformed the inside of his laboratory so that it wouldn't even have a single shadow. So basically no Quincy could get in, no Quincy could even be there. So it's Mayuri versus Askin Nakk le Vaar. That's going to be sweet. I'm very excited for that. Mayuri says, regarding whether we pretend to be smart or not, I guess you want to verify that before we go home. That's going to be great. I'm very excited for that fight. I don't know if Mayuri's going to come out on top, because Askin strikes me as being very powerful. If you guys don't remember Askin, in a 5-4-3, he was the bloke who appeared and broke up the fight between Bazz-B and Haschwalth. Stomata D, who can seemingly create dimensions. Yeah, so I think he's going to be a really interesting character, Askin, and I hope he doesn't die here. So then we get to another part of the battle, and the Shinigami are like, whoa, don't let them pass. Bazz-B runs up towards them and just engulfs them in flame. So I presume he's H'd for the heat, but I don't know, maybe not. It might not be that simple, but... it's funny, if you go to my DeviantArt account, I guess that Bazz-B is going to use fire. I reckon he's got the blue flames that torch Hoikumundo. But, the Quincy keep reiterating that they've already been there. Bazz-B's like, what? Don't let them pass? How stupid, I've already been here. You know, it's not a matter of passing or not anymore. However, the flame was frozen. Toshiro and Matsumoto arrive, having saved the Shinigami. Toshiro's wearing some ridiculous bandana, but he says, your flames didn't pass through, and then Bazz-B's like, huh? And that's the end of the chapter. So, wow, oh my god, Bleach is back with a bang. We've got some setups. We've got some just crazy stuff going down. Revelations on the Quincy front, what they've been doing this whole time, how they've been there. 3 battles confirmed. Shunsui versus Haschwalth, Askin versus Mayuri, and Bazz-B versus Toshiro Matsumoto. Interestingly, their lieutenants have been with them every time. So it might be Shunsui and now, Mayuri and Nemu, and Matsumoto and Toshiro. This would be really cool because we haven't seen a lot from them now, or Nemu. So yeah, that'd be a great fight if we see both of them do stuff. I'm most interested in Shunsui's fight. However, next chapter predictions I think will go around. We'll see some more setups, some more stuff going on, which is great to me. Seeing more Quincy is just brilliant. Seeing more of these Stomata do something is just gold for me. So yeah, it was great seeing Askin this fight, this chapter. I wasn't expecting that at all. Unfortunately, I have to say I'm least interested in the Bazz-B versus Toshiro fight because it's Toshiro. However, don't get me wrong, I'm interested in all of them. It's not like Fake Karakura where some of them are boring. This is going to be great. Now, Bazz-B has fire, Toshiro has ice. That in no way is a disadvantage for Baz, because he can obviously melt Toshiro's ice. I truly think Toshiro is going to lose here. He doesn't have a Bankai, and I think Baz is just going to kick his ass. Because I think Rose is going to come in afterwards with a Bankai and fight Baz. Rose has to fight Baz if Kira is actually dead, because Baz is the one who killed him, so I'd love to see that happen. We didn't see Kensei at all this chapter, actually, which is interesting. We did see Rose at the beginning. Askin versus Mayuri, that's very interesting. I really have no idea where that's going to go. Mayuri still has a Bankai, but what is his suit all about? His ridiculous-looking suit. Does it give off light that keeps the shadows away from him? Can it mean that Reishi can't be used around him? I don't know. Interesting. And obviously Shunsui versus Haschwalth is just going to be awesome. It's just going to be an epic fight. However, I expected Shunsui to go up against Yaharvark along with Ukitake. Ukitake, who's outside Seirete. So, who can we say is currently outside Seirete? Well, actually, that's probably why we didn't see Kensei. Kensei's outside, along with Hisagi, Komamura, Soifon, Ukitake, apparently. Komamura, did I say Komamura? Well, Komamura's outside. Shinji's inside. I'd love to see Shinji versus Kangdu, if that's what that colour page at the beginning indicated. But yeah, I'm so excited. What a great chapter. Panel of the week, it's kind of got to go to that colour page at the beginning of all the characters. That's awesome. But if we don't count the colour page, then it gets interesting. If we don't count the colour page, what do we use instead? My panel of the week. I loved the panel of Shunsui and Haschwalth's faces. That was sweet. Askin just looked awesome whenever I saw him, to be honest. I thought he looked cool. It's really hard to pick. So I'm going to have to go with the colour page. I'm going to have to go with the colour page. But that's it for this week's review, guys. I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10 because it's goddamn awesome. Great to have Bleach back. Let me know in the comments below, what did you guys think of this chapter? What do you think of the matchups so far? And who do you think is going to be fighting next? Who do you think is going to win the fights we've seen so far? And do you think anyone else is going to lose their Bankai? Just tell me, what do you think? What do you think of the Quincy we've seen so far? And just remember to like the video, guys, and subscribe if you haven't already. But that's it for me this week, and I shall catch you next week. It's good to be able to say that again. See you then. See ya.